So I read your comments, okay? I also respond to your comments. I am so thrilled to have a community around me that is providing me with fodder for this program. So this is also true on Twitter. I read the Twitter feed. I read everything that's in my Twitter feed every single day. In fact, multiple times a day. And you guys are a major source. I just really appreciate you providing me with suggestions and ideas. Well, today I want to thank at Tom Turn 802-63132. Tom, a shorter name would be easier to be able to pass you along to others. Anyway, specifically, he sent me today an article that confirmed my bias. That's always good, but not in a good way. So at the end of this rather short episode today, actually, I will give you my theory on Tesla's stock movement in the next few days, but keep in mind, I could be totally wrong. This is Randy Kirk. If you like my morning show, please hit the like button to keep me energized and enthusiastic about getting up and doing this morning show, and then hit subscribe and notify. We do have a very, 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 very interesting article coming up, or show coming up today, midday. You're going to want to see this. I had kind of an epiphany, and this is maybe it might be one of those YouTube videos you want to pass along to friends and family, because it really talks about where Tesla's headed and why, and maybe it's big. It's maybe bigger than any of us are really contemplating. All right, I mean, it's just absolutely mind-bogglingly huge. This once in, not just in a lifetime, this is a once in the history of the world situation. And I'll explain that in much greater detail this afternoon. All right. And then, of course, Patreon. Thank you very much. A lot of Patreon folks coming in. I have decided to do some unique content on Patreon, in addition to putting up all of my charts and graphs and all of the information, as I start to figure out, okay, here is something that I could put up on a spreadsheet that might help people to understand where Tesla is or where they're going. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, Tesla. So as I'm writing this morning and I'm looking at Tesla, I'm keep looking at the chart, keep looking at what's going on, and Tesla's up, Tesla's down. So it started up like 5 cents, and then it went down into the red, which is what I said would happen. I said it would open this morning in the red, which it did. And then I've no sooner written a few more paragraphs so that I can pass along the news to you today. And I take another look, and well, looky there, Tesla's now in the green fairly nicely, while the rest of the market is definitely headed south. Now, people are speculating that it's all about the Fed. The Fed is like going to have their minutes published today. You've heard me say over and over again, what are the minutes going to say that the Fed leadership hasn't said already on television or before Congress or at international meetings? The Fed's been out there all over the place the last 3 weeks. And so did they leave something out? Did they not tell us something that's going to show up in the minutes today? So no, I don't think people are going, oh, wait, what's going to happen with the Fed minutes today? I think what they're doing is they're going, okay, I'm gonna take a breather right now, because what? Because all these labor numbers are coming up later this week, and the market is up strongly over months, over 9 months actually. That the stock market has been up, and so maybe this is a good day to just take a day off. There is a little upward movement in gold this morning, kind of a rebound in gold, a little bit of up movement in the bond market. And all of that would be suggesting that maybe these labor numbers are going to come in stronger than expected. This could potentially affect the Fed's decision, and we could get that 25 basis point rise, when they meet later this month. Anyway, so I think people are way more concerned about these labor numbers coming out tomorrow and Friday than they are about what's happening with the Fed minutes. Okay, so speaking of the Fed, though, oh, by the way, speaking of the Fed minutes, so Tom Turn 802-63132 sends me a note to go check out a video from Felix and Friends. Now, I'd never seen this Felix and Friends guy before. He's very funny, very clever. I'll put what do you call it, a card up here, and then I'll also put the URL down in the information below. Felix is very amusing, very charming, and seemed like he's a pretty smart guy. So maybe I'll be paying more attention to Felix and friends in the future. Well, he points to a Fed report that absolutely undermines the current Fed policy. In this report, the report maintains that the credit shock and the reduction of money supply that has been taking place for the last, 18 months roughly, this is usually going to have an impact around 2 years after the shock, and that would suggest that the real problems in the economy that could be caused by this would be happening toward the end of this year and into next year. Now, again, this confirms my bias, which I've repeated to you over and over again, that the really critical issue here is not even the interest rates, because people get used to the interest rates. They find ways to deal with the interest rates. But money supply, there's no way to get around that. So as the interest rates go up and money supply goes down, now you have stressed companies that are already in a little bit of trouble. I mean, lots of companies have been whipshawed by this supply craziness that we've had. A lot of companies have been whipshawed by the boom bust things that have taken place. Again, I always refer to my friends in the bicycle industry, where I spent my entire career. Well, in the bicycle industry went nuts during the pandemic and right after the pandemic. But then all of a sudden you have every single person that was even contemplating buying a bike has bought the bike. And then what happens is you get a year where nobody buys a bike. And so everybody in that chain, all the bike shops, the wholesalers, the importers, the manufacturers, they are all suffering. So this would be an example of a group that is under stress right now. Okay. And there's a lot of groups like that are under stress. Well, if you also say to them, okay, while you're under stress, you can't borrow any more money because nobody's going to lend you money in this environment where the money supply is dried up and the interest rates are high, because the interest rate will now challenge whether or not you can pay back the money if we loan it to you. When you get into that situation, then that's when you can start to see a real crunch, because that bicycle retailer, I'm going to just use the bicycle folks again, that bicycle retailer, if he can't get that small loan to see him through, well, then all of a sudden he can't pay his supplier. Now the supplier, all of a sudden his money is starting to dry up and he can't get a small loan or even a little bigger loan from his banker, because that banker says, well, no, not right now. Are you kidding me? Your accounts receivable is so horrible, I can't loan you any money. And so he can't borrow any money. And so he goes to his Chinese guys. He can't come up with the money to pay for his next shipment. So it just backs all the way up through the system. So that's where you are right now. And so the money supply is a problem. I think if the Fed, even if they want to raise the interest rates, if they take a little pressure off the money supply right now, stop drying up the cash, I think that could really, really help things. Okay, let's go. As noted last night, the China numbers for Tesla, which were extremely strong and showed that Tesla is now at a 1.1 million run rate in Shanghai. That should create this buoyancy that I was expecting sometime today on the market. I was expecting it maybe to take a little more time in the red before it would start up again, but I would expect Tesla to be up today and the rest of the week, primarily because of that China number. Now, I will continue to say that they need more good news. I don't know where that might come from, but more good news in order to get back to 300 this week. But at some point, maybe they get some really substantially good news, and you can see Tesla going back up to 300. Now, I would expect choppiness this week. It's very likely that Tesla could be headed towards, let's say, 295 and then bounce all the way back down to 265 and then back up to 300 and then down to 265. Anyway, there's could be a lot of choppiness this week because we know Tesla likes to move in big swaths at a time. So that's kind of where I see things going. In the rest of the market, we see oil is up a bit this morning. It has been showing a little bit of strength the last day or so because the Saudis and the Russians seem to be in cahoots of trying to dry up the supply. Right now, it's not clear whether they're trying to dry up supply just so that the price doesn't go down more, as opposed to actually trying to force the price up of oil. That's not real clear right now what their motivation is. But oil is still way at the bottom of its trading range. It's at 71, 72. The trading range has been between 67 and 81, 82. So in that bottom third of the trading range. And bonds are fairly neutral this morning. The 10-year is up a bit. The 2-year is down a little bit, which is good. That would be a tightening of the inversion. But as you know, I don't think the inversion is really that critical or really pointing to anything that we need to pay attention to. We also have on Tesla news, we have that those same guys who put up price targets last week, Tesla price targets last week in the 240 to 260 range, are, of course, raising those price targets this week. This also would be giving a little bit of help to the Tesla price this morning. Let me look again real quick. Yes, Tesla is still up 264 in an otherwise down market, although the NASDAQ is recovering and looking like it's headed towards the green. I think if you've liked this report this morning or just like getting up this, wherever you are in the world, I don't know what time it is for you. For me, it is now 7 o'clock, and I'm going to try to get this up for you guys as quickly as possible. But anyway, hit like, hit subscribe. You definitely want to see that show today. Even if you don't hit notify, remember to look for it. It's coming here. This is not one you're going to want to miss. Buy the book, buy the book, buy the book, and become a part of Patreon. It's been great talking to you.